Thank you very much. Christine O'Donnell is with us now from Dover, Delaware. Ms. O'Donnell, good morning. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Matt.
In the last couple of weeks, boy, they've said some terrible things about you. You're unelectable, unqualified. Most people thought I'd be sitting here this morning talking to a guy named Mike Castle. So, I mean, that's my long way of saying good morning. What happened?
Good morning. Well, you know, there's a lot of folks here in Delaware who are concerned about the direction of our country. They've been shut out of the political process, and this past year we've seen an uprising of everyday Americans who are fighting to take back their country, and I've been fortunate enough to earn their support, and they had their voice heard last night. I think the people of Delaware spoke loud and clear that politics as usual is over.
Is it that general sense that you described as of dissatisfaction? Do you think that made the difference? Or is there a specific thing you can put your finger on? Was there an event? Was there a comment? Or was it what I described in that first question, that people heard so many disparaging things about you that in some ways it incited their anger?
I think it was a combination of all of that, Matt. We've been working very hard for the past 6 months to go up and down the state, meet as many voters as possible, but it doesn't take an expert to figure out that our country is going broke, and Washington keeps putting out these failed policies that just aren't sustainable, and we've been taking our message and proposing our solutions to the people of Delaware. They've been rallying behind me. I've been asking them, get to know me. I've been making myself very accessible, making sure that I'm in every county every week, so that when my opponent did take that negative turn, so many people knew me already and knew that the picture he was painting didn't fit with what they knew me to be. So I think it was a combination of all of that, just peaking at the perfect time.
2 words, Sarah Palin, scale of 1 to 10, how much did her endorsement mean to you, 10 being, you know, home run?
Oh, I think it was a 10, because what she did was, in the middle of all that mudslinging coming out, she came out and endorsed me, and it was a vote against the politics of personal destruction. And what that did was allowed the people who maybe were still on the fence and wondering, is this true? It gave them the opportunity to look beyond that and to realize, you know, I need to give this candidate a chance and take her up on their opportunity to come out and meet her, and I think that's what happened. So it certainly was a turning point, and you know, she of all people knows what it's like to be hit by the establishment when you're about to topple their power, and that's exactly what we did last night, and that's exactly what we intend to do in November.
Well, even as we look forward, because even here, after your victory last night, you're once again getting no respect. Some this morning are calling your victory a great thing for Democrats, and they're calling your new opponent, Chris Coons, the luckiest man in American politics. In other words, they're saying he's now a shoo-in. You can't win. So where do you go from here?
You know, that's not true. They never thought that we would win, and they never thought we'd win as big as we did. So what this whole campaign is about is making the impossible possible. It's about visionaries and leaders putting their principles into practice. So it's a shame. I think a few people got their pride bruised last night. A few of the so-called experts proved that once again they were wrong. This is a very unpredictable political season where anything goes. But the folks are craving candidates who are willing to stand for something. So, you know, once again, they're going to be proven wrong in November, because my war-weary team got the boost of excitement they needed last night, and we're re-energized and ready to sprint towards November.
What about
which
funding
is just about
here?
a month and a half away.
It's an expensive race. John Cornyn, who's the chair of the committee that doles out money to Republican senatorial candidates, was asked yesterday, would he pull money out of your state if you were to become the Republican nominee? He said, we're going to have to sit down and have a powwow. That doesn't sound like a ringing vote of confidence. So do you think you'll get money from the National Republican Party?
Well, I don't know if we'll get money from the National Republican Party, but I know that we're going to get money, the money that we need. We won this election with just barely a tenth of what my opponent had already raised. We got a lot of phone calls last night from some other heavy hitters who assured me that they will make sure that we get what we need. And you know what else? Delaware is so small that we don't need the war chest that a Senate candidate in Pennsylvania or Florida or California needs. We need about $1 million to finish this last last month and a half. So Christine2010.com if there's anyone who wants to help, but do what the NRSC won't do.
I knew you'd get it in there. On this morning after the primaries, perhaps the candidate grabbing the biggest headlines is Christine O'Donnell. Ms. O'Donnell, congratulations. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much.
Now, here's Meredith.